Alrighty fam, welcome back to another episode of my Roman Empire playthrough. In this late hour where the world is looking more and more orthodox, I realized that suffering more attrition, which is not ideal, all over the place. Let's go ahead and try to resolve that. But I would like to be poised and ready to go in against Colombia, etc. Yeah. Let's go to the coastal desert there. See if we're suffering attrition there. Yeah, one thing that's concerning me, guys, is that if I had less liberty desire with all of these colonial nations, then the war out here would be much easier. Do you guys feel me? If these guys just all rampage down. So I am going to be spending my prestige there, trying to keep them happy. And I might take up for -10 there. Which definitely helped out with our liberty desire big time. Now, with that in mind, we're 1 over our diplo relation slots, and I might go over, again, doing the same tactic, releasing land that is causing overextension and generating missionaries. You know, we converted a few of this guy's provinces, but he's converting some himself, which is exactly what we actually want. But let's get straight into things. We are involved in a war against 2 nations, which I plan to 100% overextend into. Why is this guy's access so bad? I don't have movement through Malacca? I thought I did. I remember doing that last episode, just walking through, but alright. Let's go defend our territory. Yeah, and we're actually over 100% overextension right now for like a month or so. Until everything is caught up here. In Poland. Well, we've got 1 province that I'm waiting on. Oh no. It's worth 0.00. Uh-oh. I mismathed things a little bit, guys. So we're actually waiting on this one, which is 73%. So we're actually over 100 overextension. That's a bit awkward. But it's just going to be how it is. That was not planned. But we've been here before, haven't we? And we've been quite stable, I would say, up until recently. So, not the end of the world. I want to help out my little friend here, my subject. He's trying to convert a province. Let's sort his rebels out. That's a issue. Yep, we're still over. We're 0.2 over. Feels bad, man. Feels bad, man, but it is what it is. Now, I've been thinking about my next war, guys. It's probably going to be this one. And I suspect... Oh, never mind. Jampur is at peace. Okay. I was going to say if he goes on any harder and longer, he's not going to back them up, but he is now. I might look around for another war to fight. I might go in here again against this nation and do a big separate peace on the Timurids, who just expanded. They look like they took a lot geographically, but it's just these large provinces. They took very little. I'm wondering if he's going to make any more allies, but we could make him co-belligerent and take a huge amount of his land at the cost of diplomatic points in a separate peace. Or alternatively, we could take a huge amount of his land from piecing out this nation. The only issue is we'd have a long truce with him. Both could work. But if we take a look at Russia, whose bloody guarantees are frustrating, he's got 30 trust, guys. So maybe I'm wrong. He's losing to Japan. That's so awkward. It's because these rebels took his war goal. I think if you have over 30 trust, you can actually pull an alliance. If I'm not mistaken. Now I need more troops out here to make this war move along faster. Highlands, they're a good place to defend our territory. Let's force march in. I actually wonder what kind of tech is this guy, Pingu. It's the same tech level as I am. Alright, we've got discipline from this. Jeez, they've got really good generals. What the... That's annoying. Let's go over our generals even more. Man, why do I feel like I'm pretty lucky overall, guys. I'd say, and I shouldn't complain. A lot of people sort of cry about how lucky I am, but sometimes I get salty about that because, like, people talk about, oh, those PUs you get. Meanwhile, I'm like truce breaking and stressing and aggressive expansion and about to ruin my entire game trying to get these PUs and so on. But I swear, dude, I never get good generals, and when I do, they die within a month. Like if I could improve my luck in any way, it would be generals. I swear, dude. That's not true. Actually, I sometimes get good generals in the early game. But it's just the late game, I swear. Like, I sometimes get a good general and I'm like, woohoo, fun times. But in the late game, I just consistently have bad generals all of the time. Like, I'm like, yay, a good general. And then he's just dead like a month later. It's so annoying. I always have average generals. I mean, I consider these to be pretty average considering I'm at 100, right? Like 5 shock, 2 fire? Are you kidding me? That's so average. Okay, these rebel stacks are, yep, very large due to our overextension, so that feels pretty bad. Feels pretty bad, man. Lost that battle, which I expected, but I'm just YOLOing it in there like a noob anyway. I was trying to delay and hope we rolled well as more troops come over. When he takes our forts like that, they're not worth very much war score. I think it's a good call to be at least 2 generals over our limit though. Okay, move on up. His capital should drop quickly, especially if we put a 2 siege general there. Wow, these guys are actually about to be successful, I think. Oh geez, these rebels out here must be doing really well. Yep, they're progressing. Thank goodness I caught that. Now they spawned on our subject, if you didn't realize, because I converted his religion. His fort level 1 we should be able to take here pretty quickly. But let's try to delay them here. I think it's probably faster to take the stuff back than it is to go kill them, honestly. Fort level 1 should drop pretty quick. Prestige is good. Yeah, better than 1 development in a crappy colony at this stage, even though prestige is not that valuable. It's better than that. Okay, let's go look at those troops in the new mod. Are you suffering attrition? They are. There can't be much attrition here in the... Oh, that siege general, I need to utilize him. Can't be much attrition in the grasslands, but it seems like it is, to be fair. Let's just wander around somewhere else. There's no bloody nice lands around this region. Our war out here begins in 5 years. I want to have troops ready to just carpet siege the hell out of them. This next war against Colombia and Mexico has to be big. And by that I mean there can't be much remaining. Okay. So that should have stopped his progress, right? Yeah. Now we just group up and hit up that rebel stack out there. So we're going for the full annexation of this dude. But it's only 61 overextension, so I need to make enough occupations on this dude here to take, what, 39 overextension. And in my opinion, the best way to do that is going to be to peace out the war leader. We can avoid spending Diplo points there. It will result in a long truce with Pigu. But I think we're doing okay on time, as long as we've got provinces to convert, which we do right now. I've noticed a lot of rebels around revolutionaries, like here in Japan. And should spend some prestige in French Canada. Yeah, Malacca. I don't know how to pronounce his name. French Canada, be happy, please. Alright, I've converted almost all of the territory that I own, which is not core. But of course, we're going to have much more to do when I core up land, and we also have our subjects to spend our missionaries in. If I take these forts, then I, can free up some access around here. My access is pretty bad. It's quite rough trying to defend this. I've only got the one spot. I could send some navy units around, some units via sea. So how was the Newfoundland area doing? You've got religious. His main issue is he's struggling to core it. Interestingly. Seems interesting to me because he wasn't really coring anything out here, right? So for like a while. So maybe we just caught him at a time when he had low admin, like he teched up or something. But that was part of the preference of feeding him as opposed to making a client state, is that he was already well established. But it doesn't seem to be doing the best job ever. That's okay. And he's not actually converting, even though his religious idea is his own territory. I think he's 100% out here, isn't he? Yeah, his core territory is not converting, so what's up with that, guy? You better not be all noob and buggy because we gave you land out here. Imagine if he was, that would be awkward. What would we do to attack? Because I can just convert it myself. Whew. Calm down, we're all good. If our subjects don't convert, we just convert them ourselves. I don't have to fight some janky war with him. False alarm, monk. Don't be such a noob. Alrighty, now this one, let's spend some military here. Try to move some of these along in a better fashion, the ones that we're going to be waiting on. How's our inflation doing? Very nicely. We're getting so much cash from those treasury fleets. I need to make my way towards his capital. Interesting. In the meantime, let's just siege up anything I can to reduce his enthusiasm. And I've got to be vigilant with these colonists as well. There's a lot of land left to colonize. So guys, let me ask you, because those of you who are watching this are the ones who kind of would be interested, do you know what I mean, on my channel, about my next series. Like I've mentioned it before, that I want to do the 3 Mountains achievement, which is pretty self-explanatory. Like I want to do it before I was ever to leave this game and move on. I feel like that's sort of one of, if not the hardest things to do, and it's a good kind of ultimate goal, if you will. But that doesn't mean that we have to do it next run. And I've been thinking of a few things, like in terms of achievements, there's a lot to do, but some of them are literally so mundane. I don't have them because, if anything, they're too easy and I can't be bothered. You know, I don't have any... I did at one stage have an intention to kind of 100% the achievements, but that was back when I was streaming. I would stream with terrible bitrate, which I'm not really capable of doing now because I wouldn't be able to upload my videos. For those, I know people always ask, why don't I stream? That's exactly the plan. But I first need to get better internet, which is also the plan, and I'm working on it all. Yeah, and considering I don't just play this all the bloody time, I don't really intend to get some of those achievements, which are just boring. And we're running out of achievements which are really worth my time, in my opinion. But there is something that a lot of people do, like Flurry and so on, which I've not done myself, which is kind of a achievement IRL, if you will. Like just setting the benchmark high. Nice, I can reach his capital now. And that's a one culture. One culture. Now, obviously, much like a one faith, there are some things to consider, like, for example, your colonial nations could have the same culture as you. Stuff like that. But, with that being said, a one culture pretty much implies that you need to have pretty much the entire world, so it's essentially a one tag, and then you actually need to have the anything that you want to convert to your culture has to first be your religion. So it is basically a one tag and one faith, and then the one culture, obviously, on top of that, which costs, it takes extra time, so you need to be ahead of things, but also a tremendous amount of diplomatic points, which, by the way, do become fairly insignificant in the late game. It's definitely doable, but as you guys know, I don't exploit, really, or anything like that. So, you can see how well we're doing here as Byzantium. Like, to say it's doable on Byzantium, I mean, it probably is, and we certainly could have had a better run going than this, but it would be bloody hard. If I was to invest the time and energy then it would probably be on a nation which I think is more, at least for my level of play, more reliably going to achieve it. I need to blockade this to move it along faster. So what I'm saying is, in order to do such a thing, I would probably not pick a underdog nation like Byzantium, and I would instead pick probably quite literally the strongest nation I can think of. So for example, Austria. But yeah, just tell me your thoughts on that. Is that something that you guys would like to see? Keep in mind that if we're playing a powerful nation like Austria, then hopefully, in order to achieve what we want to achieve, what is most likely to happen is that it would be a flop, basically, right? It would just be a raffle stomp game where we just bloody well crush everything. So in a sense, it would be there would not be too many adversaries and too many issues that we encounter initially. And it would be more of whether we could ultimately close the gap or not. So I know many of you might find that kind of thing boring, and that's part of the reason that I'm asking. Obviously, speaking of Austria, I've been playing a few games as them, as many of you know. And yeah, part of me does want to just play, not to just create a video or anything like that, or chill in my own time, but do a run where I do play a super powerful nation and just really test my might, if you will, test how hard and fast I can dominate the entire world. I would be willing to not... What kind of diplomatic dude do we need? It doesn't really matter, does it? I would be willing to not pick the most powerful nation ever. Like, we could do a... less powerful nation to achieve such a thing if I was inspired to play them. So for example, you guys probably remember about like a few months ago I did a German game which I did not fully record, and I actually did better as the nation of Brandenburg than I ever had thought I could really do. And I was confident that I could conquer the world on that game, but I was I couldn't be bothered, you know. I was also playing other games at the same time. I think this one even at the same time. And yeah, I think there's tactics. Like for example, I could start as Brandenburg. This is just an example. I could try to take Königsberg, which is the only thing required. You need Stolp or Danzig. I could try to take East Prussia and maintain the Commonwealth, giving him West Prussia as an ally, which I think is definitely doable. Well, there's no doubt in my mind that it's doable. But the question is, in the late game, would the Commonwealth rival me? They probably would if they had no other valid rivals, but I don't know if I could maintain him as an ally forever. Either way, if we did that, we could obviously get access through his land. If we're best buddies, if we're nice and chummy with each other, and that would resolve any kind of issue in the sense that I don't own the territory. But the plan would be to ultimately promote our leader in the Commonwealth and ultimately personal union the entire Commonwealth, which is definitely doable. So that is one thing that I did not do. But naturally, just having a powerful ally there helps us against the coalitions either way, because my tactic is to expand rapidly into Germany and so on. And another thing I could do, which is easier said than done is I could try to do the same tactic I did as the Emperor to actually defeat Denmark and steal Sweden and Norway. Obviously, within 10 years, we can integrate Sweden, and that would give me Deus Vult to begin expanding big chunks into Russia, of course, with the Commonwealth's help, and begin going into Asia. So my focuses would be primarily on Scandinavia and Germany initially, and then we'd kind of just skip the Commonwealth. So I feel like those are some tactics that I did not utilize, and I could have an even better game as the nation of Brandenburg. So definitely tell me your thoughts, guys. It would obviously be harder to do it on Brandenburg than it would be on Austria, for example. But there'd be some weirdness playing both nations. You know, like if I was to do an Austrian game, we'd have to unite the empire fairly quickly and not really exploit the heck out of it in order to both convert the whole empire to Austrian. I don't want to convert this guy, this nation. He's got religious ideas. He can do it himself. Now, I did core up my territory, did I? Let's turn that off and core up our own land nowadays. Yeah, and we wouldn't want to exploit the empire to the max. Other things such as Castile, PU in Castile, which is relatively easy, could be a bit of a no-go because he would make Castilian colonies which we would ultimately own ourselves. It's a bit awkward. Like a lot of things like that would be quite awkward, whereas if we did Brandenburg, for example, I could just completely neglect going colonial and just have the mindset that I'm going to cut out a colony from whatever colonies exist, and the colonies quite consistently convert their land. There's some non-converted land here. I wonder why. Maybe they had separatism? I don't know. But my point is that if we were ahead of the game, I could cut out a Prussian colony from any kind of English colony, and then once it's established, it should be able to convert itself. Whereas if we have, I guess kind of like this game, right? Colonies of non-culture that we have, it would be awkward. Yeah, I didn't mean to kind of override this episode talking about that thing, but just share your thoughts, guys. Are you keen on watching another massively long series after this one on trying to achieve my, in a sense, my own personal best, which would be a one culture? And if you are, should I go to the absolute max and try my absolute hardest and do whatever it takes to achieve it? Or should I do something which is potentially a little bit more cool / fun, like playing the Brandenburg and making the whole world Prussian? Definitely share your thoughts. With that being said, we just 100% overextended once again. That was not too long after we caught up the rest of our territory. That's pretty good. Definitely keeping ahead in our spending our admin points at this stage. Good stuff. Uh-oh. Those spawned from us fully annexing this nation. Alrighty, guys, the gap closes more and more. So I think what I'm going to do is fight this war next. And yeah, we're going to do a very similar thing to what I just did there. I probably won't fully annex this nation, even though we can. but I'll instead take a lot of the Timurids. We're definitely going to go for 100%, and I think this is the next war that we're going to take to do it, is Vijayanagara, however you say his name. Let's go take a look at Europe. Okay, so Bremen is no longer at war, but we got a truce with him. He's a subject, isn't he? Oh, it's Sweden. Bremen and Sweden have a fairly similar color now, as it happens. I didn't realize that the province is Swedish. Okay. Well, that's a bit awkward. The whole idea, the plan was to attack Bremen to deal with Scandinavia, who we've got a long truce with. But our truce... Jeez, it's from my side. That's so awkward. What's this flag? Yellow. Okay, it's up in 2 years. Alright, we're just going to attack him directly and fully annex him. Yep. Or, well, yeah, we'll just fully annex him. And in 3 years' time, we've got to deal with Colombia. Alrighty, guys, that's going to be it for this episode. Thanks for watching. And we're going to go ahead and jump straight into this war next time. So who knows how long it's going to take, but that's pretty much what the series is going to consist of nowadays, is fighting one big war, I imagine. Like, for example, Japan after that is probably the same thing. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.